everyone, welcome to today's video. We are at Yonge Street and York Mills. I am on the east side of Yonge Street, heading northbound on Yonge. I just concluded a video from Lawrence to York Mills, and I'm going to do this video and probably two others, the end goal being Steele's. So that, where the subway station is, that used to be right behind it where you can see that construction. That used to be a parking lot like forever. Looks like they're building a, actually building a building, I think, condos. And in here, at York Mills Central, I remember years ago when I would travel to Calgary, being cost effective as I was, I would take the bus back from the airport, hop on the bus, like it was the GO bus, and it used to drop us off in here, or drop me off in there. It's too expensive back in those days to take a cab. And I think it was $8 or something to take the GO bus from Pearson International Airport to York Mills here, and then I would just take the subway home. And at the time I was living on Broadway Avenue, this was before marriage, and I would just take the subway, a few subway stops. And of course the reason why I did that is because I was lugging a heavy suitcase, and that was before suitcases with wheels. So yeah, otherwise I probably would have lugged a suitcase with wheels down to Broadway. And that probably would be, no, maybe not. That would be over half an hour, I think, and that could be really awkward trying to lug a suitcase on city streets. Right across the street, sort of behind those bushes, that building, you can see with all the darkened windows. You can see maybe some cars in the parking lot. I'm just pointing that out because that was my last, before I retired the corporate life, that's where I last worked, was in that building. And back in those days, I used to take the subway to work because I'd be at work between 7:30 and 8 in the morning, and then I'd walk home between 6 and 7 at night. I'd walk home, and it was about an hour walk. Of course, walking straight south on Yonge. Really enjoyed that time at the end of the day to decompress and, of course, do what I love doing. And this was the only restaurant we had near us, other than the building had a few, cafeterias, food courts, I guess. But here we would come for a special occasion. We'd come to Swiss Chalet. Just would come for the French fries. I have been the only pedestrian on this stretch since, I think, Yonge Boulevard, which was in my previous video. So I'm walking up to Steele's, and then there's a mall there. I'm going to pick up some groceries because there's a grocery store there, and David is picking me up. And that's probably an hour away, an hour and a half away, an hour away maybe. I remember when these condos went up years ago. Over 15 years ago. And I remember when I used to run up here back in the day, I used to admire these condos. And think, oh, I'd love to live there one day. I just thought they were so pretty. So here is a Go bus. I wonder if that, yeah, it came from Yorkdale, so I wonder if it came from the airport as well. I remember when I would take the Go from Toronto International Airport to York Mills subway, it wasn't a double-decker like that bus was. And the camera may not pick it up, but in the distance there, it's the 401. In the summer, especially in the middle of the day, if you walk up here, it is so hot because there is no shade. And in the afternoon, the sun is coming around this side to the west and beaming down on this stretch of Yonge Street. It is hot. And there's no place to shelter from the sun. It is nice out. It's, I think, -4. I think it was -4 when I left home. I left home. I live just south of Eglinton. My first video, I walked to my first video, which started at Lawrence. That took about half an hour. And this is my second video for the walk along Yonge Street North, my love of Yonge Street. Yonge Street was the first street that I really became quite familiar with when I first moved to Toronto 33 years ago. And these videos walking north along Yonge is just to commemorate my upcoming 33rd anniversary move to Toronto. I used to travel up and down Yonge Street to visit friends, to walk, to run, to even, you know, taking the subway. I became quite familiar with Yonge Street almost immediately after moving to this grand city. The tricky part I find is crossing over up here. because cars that are turning eastbound to get onto the 401, it's hard to cross the street because there's no walk lights here. There is a place to cross the street here. Do I want to do that? I'm not going to do that. I am going to walk up here. Now it's not rush hour, so I should be able to cross just up ahead. I will be jaywalking. Don't tell anyone. So you can see what I mean about trying to get across the street. Because everybody's turning down the 401. Okay, here we go. Quickly. That wasn't bad. Not bad. It is pretty bad at rush hour. So just so you know, if you're walking up in this neighborhood on Yonge, probably safer to cross the street and walk over that little walkway bridge and then come around than try and navigate the traffic trying to get on and off of the 401. So it looks pretty passive right now, but this stretch right there gets really busy with people trying to get onto, or motorists trying to get onto the 401 and getting off the 401. Not getting off, but not getting off the 401, but coming down this street here. Sorry if you hear a lot of sniffling. It is a bit cool out, so I do tend to sniffle. Hopefully it's not coming through in the audio. blue building, this blue not mirrored, but glass building that the camera is angling towards. That used to be once upon a time, probably 20 years ago, maybe even 15 years, as early as 15 years ago. That used to be a Time Warner building. Signage hasn't been there for a long time. So I guess they occupied part of that building, if not all of it. It is such a nice day for a walk. Thank you very much for joining me. It's a nice day. David and I just finished watching a series. I'm not sure, sorry folks, I don't know if it's HBO or what it is, but it's called Scenes of a Marriage, with 6 parts, I think about an hour each. It starred Jessica Chastain and Oscar Isaac, where it was just the two of them primarily, and it was, they played a married couple. They also were executive producers on this little mini series. There was about 6 parts. I think I may have already mentioned that. But the first couple of episodes I found gut-wrenching because, without giving too much away, it was, as a lot of marriages, there was a breakdown of marriage, and it was sad because it was very laid out there, all the emotion, the anguish, and then it was pretty graphic, I guess, as well. But one of the cool things about it was how they started each episode, except for the last one. Each episode started with the actual actors being themselves, so coming on set, getting ready, like just a small clip, and then they started into the scene. And then the last episode, instead of starting with the actors coming onto the set, it started right with the start of the last episode, but it concluded with the actors being themselves, so walking off set and being themselves. It was really cool, actually, to see that. I've never seen that before. I think that's one of the things I like best about the series. I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong, the series was good. And I'm sure it depicts many couples or aspects or variations of other people's marriages that are maybe in not the best shape. Yeah, it was gut-wrenching in parts. But by the end, I remember, David and I talking, like, this couple, they do need some counseling. some of the behaviors, you know, I don't think it occurred recently. I think some of the behaviors manifested at childhood. At least I'm talking about the character's behaviors, and how it led to sort of an odd relationship. Anyhow, if that's something you're interested in, just Google Scenes of a Marriage. You may also see, there was a movie actually in the 60s, I think, called Scenes of a Marriage, and I think the series that we've just recently watched is based, I think, on that movie. But I think in the movie version, the husband is the one who sort of starts the breakdown of the marriage. In the series, it was the wife who precipitated that breakdown. And that multi-layered, multi-storied red brick building, hopefully the camera picks it up, that is Government of Canada building. So I'm sure that building hosts a lot of the different agencies or ministries of the Canadian government. So what are they all? There's immigration, employment. I'm just assuming it probably hosts the majority of the different departments, divisions within the Government of Canada, just because of the size of the building. And I think that building is primarily occupied, if not totally occupied, by the Government of Canada. Alrighty folks, here we are at Sheppard Avenue, and I am facing westbound, and here we are at Yonge Street. This concludes this video. Thank you very much for joining me. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. This is Boomer Girl Walking, signing off.